Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going deep on something pretty relevant, I think, to just about everyone on the planet right now. Surviving heat. And not just your typical, you know, drink water stuff. We're going way deeper than that.
Yeah, we're diving deep into a book called How to Survive Heat by the pretty sarcastic Giuseppe Saturno.
Yeah.
This book is interesting. It's got all this advice from diet to like city planning.
Yeah.
But he delivers it all with this sharp wit.
It's almost like you're getting roasted while you're learning about how to not get roasted, right?
Yay.
So our mission today is to find those maybe surprising and actionable things that you can actually use from this book to, you know, stay cool and healthy and maybe even a little bit entertained in our warming world. Ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
Okay, so the book goes right into the health risks of heat. And I gotta say, some of this stuff I had no clue about.
It goes way beyond heat stroke and dehydration, right?
You're like, did you know that extreme heat can mess with your sleep?
Yeah, that's one of the lesser known effects. If your body can't cool down at night, your sleep cycle gets all thrown off.
And for those of us who, you know, like to use our brains, the book also talks about how heat can make you, how do we say, mentally slower?
Yeah, decreased mental performance. If you're working or trying to learn in that environment.
So much for those productive summer afternoons. Okay, but here's where things get a little interesting and maybe even a little unsettling. The author claims that heat can make people more aggressive.
Well, yeah, the heat gets to you physiologically,
Right.
so it makes you uncomfortable psychologically, right?
Yeah, makes you wonder about all those road rage incidents. But on a more serious note, the book makes it clear that children and the elderly are way more vulnerable to all these heat risks.
Yeah, it's a good reminder to check in on folks during those heat waves, especially folks who can't necessarily tell you they need something.
All right, now, I'm guessing you're all familiar with, you know, climate change and all that.
Yeah.
But this book doesn't just mention it. It gets into the nitty-gritty of why it's so hot.
Yeah, it breaks down stuff like high-pressure systems, explains how they lead to those really clear, sunny, and windless days.
It's not just the sun itself, it's the lack of any wind.
Exactly. And he doesn't stop there. Gets into ocean currents too, you know, El Nino, all that stuff.
Right.
How it affects global temperatures. Even deforestation gets a mention.
Yeah.
For a couple reasons, right? Less CO2 absorption and less shade.
Yeah.
Double whammy there.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole urban heat island thing. Explains why cities are always so much hotter.
Yeah, it's all that concrete baking in the sun and the buildings blocking any wind. So we've talked about the why behind the heat. Let's get into the how of surviving it. What does the book say about food and drink?
Well, it goes beyond just, you know, drink water.
Okay.
But water-rich foods are also important.
Things like watermelon, cucumbers, that sort of thing.
Exactly. But what I find interesting was it focuses on why you should avoid certain foods in the heat. It's not just that they're unhealthy, it's how they specifically affect your body's response to heat.
So like fatty foods, they increase your metabolic heat, which is the last thing you want when it's already blazing hot outside.
Well, exactly. And sugar, you know, it gives you that quick burst, but then you crash.
Oh, yeah?
And you feel even worse. And get this, the author, he's really against drinking alcohol.
The book really hammers that home, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we know it makes you pee more, but it actually dehydrates you even beyond that. It messes with your body's temperature regulation and can even, you know, make heat exhaustion worse.
All right, so no poolside margaritas, I guess. Now, this next part really surprised me. When it's hot, my instinct is to, you know, wear as little as possible.
Less is more, right?
Right. But this book actually says you should cover up.
Yeah, he compares it to people in the desert. You know, like Bedouins. It's all about protecting yourself from the sun and creating a little insulation that helps regulate your temperature.
So it's not about trapping heat. It's about creating a buffer.
Exactly. And he really stresses the importance of the right fabrics. Breathable, natural fibers like cotton and linen are best.
What about those athletic clothes that wick away moisture?
Oh, he's actually against those. You know, they might feel cool at first, but they end up trapping sweat and moisture, and that leads to, you know, discomfort and skin irritation.
Ah, interesting. I always thought those are good for the heat.
Yeah, it's a pretty common misconception. Natural fibers, they let your skin breathe, and sweat can evaporate more easily.
Okay, so cotton and linen it is.
And if you want something more modern, he mentions a few more innovative options, like Tencel and Lyocell, which are made from eucalyptus.
Eucalyptus, that's kind of cool, literally.
Yeah, they're known for being soft and breathable. And they wick away moisture, but in a more natural way than synthetics.
Okay, so we've covered what to eat and drink and what to wear.
Yeah.
What about shelter? Any tips on staying cool at home?
He actually has a whole section on cooling your house without just blasting the AC.
Which, let's be honest, is not great for the environment.
Exactly. And contributes to the very problem we're trying to solve.
Right. So what does he suggest?
Well, he talks about natural ventilation.
Right.
Opening windows strategically to get a cross breeze going, using fans to circulate air.
Simple but effective.
He even mentions some old school architectural stuff like wind catcher towers.
I love those things.
They're surprisingly good at channeling cool air into buildings.
Yeah.
And then there's the wet sock trick.
Wait, what? Wet socks? As in, like, on my feet?
Not quite. It's about evaporation. So you put, wet cloths or even socks in front of your windows, and it actually cools down the room.
So it's like a low-tech AC unit.
Exactly. Working with nature instead of against it.
Okay. Now, I'm really interested. We've talked about staying cool inside, but what about when you have to, be out in the heat? Any advice on that?
Absolutely. In fact, he talks about building what he calls a MacGyver-esque heat survival kit.
Okay. I am SOD. Tell me everything.
Well, first we need to take a quick break, but don't worry, we'll be back soon to unpack all those essentials for your heat-busting arsenal. Stay tuned. Okay, so let's build that heat survival kit, MacGyver style.
I'm ready.
All right, so first up, water.
Obviously.
Yeah, but not just any water. He really pushes electrolyte drinks, too.
Right, to replace all those minerals you sweat out.
Exactly, and he even suggests packing salty snacks for the same reason.
Interesting. So, like, pretzels instead of potato chips?
Yep. Salt helps your body hold on to water, which is crucial when it's hot out.
Makes sense. What else goes in this kit?
Well, sun protection is key, right? Sunscreen, a hat, sunglasses, all that. And the right clothes, of course.
Right, our linen and cotton?
And a fan. Even a small one can make a huge difference.
Yeah, gotta have that air circulation.
And don't forget a first aid kit, just in case. But here's where things get really cool. He includes instructions for building a solar distillation device.
Focus now.
It's basically a way to purify water using just the sun.
Okay, I am officially intrigued. How does that even work?
It's actually pretty simple. You dig a hole, put a container in the middle, and cover the whole thing with plastic.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
So the sun heats up the ground and all the moisture evaporates. Then that water condenses on the plastic and drips into the container. Clean drinking water.
Wow, that is so smart.
Yeah.
But didn't you say earlier that distilled water can be missing some important minerals?
Yeah, he talks about that. While it's generally safe, he suggests adding a pinch of sea salt or a little fruit juice to put those minerals back in.
So a little DIY science project could actually be a lifesaver. This book is full of great practical tips, but it also seems to have like a deeper message, doesn't it?
For sure. He's constantly reminding us that, yeah, humans are adaptable, but we have limits. We can only handle so much heat.
He's definitely not sugarcoating things.
And he stresses that we need to be not just smart about how we handle the heat, but also kind. Like, we need to look after each other, especially people who are more vulnerable to those extreme temperatures.
I love that. He links survival with compassion. That's a powerful message.
Yeah. Reminds us that we're all in this together. What we do or don't do affects everyone.
So as we're wrapping up this deep dive into how to survive heat, it's clear that staying cool is about way more than just cranking up the AC or, chugging a cold drink.
It's about being informed, prepared, and mindful of how we impact ourselves and the planet.
And it's about taking action, even small steps to build a more sustainable future.
Yeah.
So the book leaves us with this question. Knowing all this, how might you redesign your daily life to, handle a hotter future?
A good question to think about. And to help you out, he's got some resources. Yeah, he's got like a QR code that takes you to his website, which has even more stuff on it.
We'll be sure to link that in the show notes so you guys can check it out.
Definitely. Knowledge is power, especially with, all this going on.
Yeah, it really is. I got to say, this deep dive has been both eye-opening and maybe a little bit sweat-inducing.
It makes you think about how you do things, that's for sure.
Definitely. I'm kind of feeling like ditching my usual clothes for some like linen robes,
Maybe we should all go full Bedouin.
Right. Comfort and practicality.
Exactly.
Well, on that note, we'll let you all go so you can start putting some of this stuff into practice.
Stay cool out there, everyone.
And remember, knowledge is the best defense against the heat. Until next time, keep those brains engaged and those bodies hydrated.